Hello again, YouTube family. This video is dealing with the Makia Bryant shooting, and here we go again, just non-stop. And there was just recently, I was reading before I was doing this, a shooting just this morning or yesterday morning in North Carolina, and it's just going on and on. To start this video, I'll play a clip I have of the incident. And that was it, just a very short clip of the incident. And Makia Bryant was wielding a knife when police officers arrived. She had pushed one girl to the ground, as you saw in that video. The odd thing was the guy who was in the driveway. If you noticed in that clip, Bryant pushed the girl to the ground, and the guy went over and tried to kick her. And as Makia Bryant, the one who was shot, ended up rushing the woman in pink that was there by the car, and that's her on the right side of the image there, running away. The officer had made commands to get down, and then fired, I believe, 4 shots at Bryant, and it was very close. The officer was very close to where this was taking place. The statement from the Columbus mayor, this happened in Columbus, Ohio. The statement from the Columbus mayor: state investigators will determine if the officer involved was wrong, and if he was, we will hold him accountable. That remains to be seen. Many of the times, even if the officer was in the wrong, they are not held accountable. As I just did my last video on Chauvin, luckily he was held accountable for what he did. Nicholas Reardon was the officer who shot the teen girl. Makia Bryant was only 16 years old. The girl who was shot, the one on the left there, was only 16 years old. And there were 2 separate 911 calls that were made. And just this past February of this year, Adam McCoy was indicted. He's a police officer in Ohio. He was indicted on charges of fatally shooting Andre Hill, a 47-year-old black male. So the area this is going on in has already been dealing with this instance of police just coming onto the scene and shooting before they really even know what's going on. In this situation, the video you just saw was the cop had just got out of his car, and there was fighting going on, and it took mere seconds for him to pull out his gun and start shooting the girl. And Bryant, as I said, she pushed the one woman down, as you saw at the start of the video, rushed a second woman with a knife in her hand. The officer fired. There's a man in the driveway. You can hear in the video when there's a sound with it, who said she's an effing kid. And it is now believed that the initial 911 call that was made to police was made by Makia Bryant, the woman here on the screen you see who was killed in the incident. The police would not confirm that she was the initial 911 caller. Makia's mother made the statement, "My daughter dispatched Columbus police for protection, not to be a homicide today." And so, I mean, this is early on in this particular instance where Makia was shot in Ohio. But as I said, there were 2 911 calls, both of them made saying there was an altercation in this particular location, in this neighborhood in Columbus, Ohio. But the initial call that is being claimed was made by Makia Bryant was that there were these women, these girls who were these threatening girls who were there. She was calling for police to come and deal with the situation. And that's the thing. Right now, there's a lot of information we don't have. And I did a lot of reading. I looked at a lot of articles on this. And the newest piece of information I got from all of my reading was that it is now believed that Ma'Khia Bryant was the initial 911 caller. I don't know if police have looked into that, and or if they haven't, and that's why they're not saying one way or another. 911 should be able to get they should have the number that was called from, and be able to figure out if it traces back to Ma'Khia Bryant, to a home phone or cell phone. Ma'Khia Bryant was a foster child, and she was, as far as I can tell, there with that's where she was living in her foster home. And it is not known who the other two women were. The one that got pushed down at the start of the video, the girl in the pink jumpsuit that ran out of the way when the officer started firing. I can say that definitely watching the video, Ma'Khia Bryant had a knife in her hand. It's not clear at all if she had taken the knife from one of the two girls, if they were threatening with a knife, and then out of anger of being attacked, she attacked them. But like I said, in that video at the start, you could see after that one, Ma'Khia Bryant pushed that one girl down, the guy in the driveway came over and kicked at her. It looked like he didn't connect, but made a kicking motion toward her. And so that's the puzzling part, is not knowing what the altercation was about. You had Ma'Khia Bryant, these two other girls in the driveway. There was the guy standing by the car. I believe there was one other female that was out there. And I don't know who the guy is. I don't know who the two girls that Ma'Khia was fighting with were, who they are, or what the fight was about. And so far, nobody has released any information on any of that, why there was a altercation to begin with. And as far as the police officer himself being held accountable, that is Officer Nicholas Reardon, I don't know that that we'll see him being held accountable for murdering her, because of the fact that she had a knife in her hand. And this will bring up a broader conversation of lethal force. As far as I know, no state has any parameters for lethal force on their books. There's no law putting in clear parameters for the use of lethal force. The federal government doesn't have one for policing. And that's why I say police are given a broad leeway on how they do their job. There are a lot of things that aren't confined. And in this situation, the officer was so close. I mean, as you saw in the body cam footage, as he stepped out of his car, Ma'Khia pushed the one woman towards him right next to his car, and then ran after the other girl that was standing by the car in the driveway. And I would say, why could he not pull out a taser and taser? I mean, I understand the concept of, from his perspective, he don't know what's going on. He sees a woman running at another woman with a knife, and so he's looking at protecting this person who's being rushed with a knife. But that's the broader conversation that should be had. Can we just use non-lethal force in most situations? I mean, we're at a point right now where we have, if cops stop somebody and they start running, so often police have the tendency just to shoot. And when they write reports, just to lie. And we see it nowadays. Now with cameras everywhere, just about everything's being filmed. police officers are still lying in their reports. They will shoot someone who's completely running away, that is not a threat to them whatsoever, and then lie in their report. And another thing I want to make clear is this is not new. What we're seeing is not something new that's going on. It's been going on for a very long time. It's just that in more recent years, there's more and more access to video and photograph things that are happening. Because everybody's carrying a camera and a video camera around in their pocket in the form of their phone nowadays. This is not new. This has been going on for a long time. It's just that we weren't seeing it because it wasn't getting recorded. Now it is, and people are shocked at how often it happens. And we need to have a broader conversation about the use of lethal force. And I'm sure there are going to be plenty of people who are going to argue that the officer had the right to use lethal force because he felt like the girl in pink, that her life was in danger. But that's not necessarily the case, because he did not ascertain exactly what was going on when he arrived. He just arrived, saw the activity, the actions taking place. And this is the point where I was saying she ran over to the girl in the driveway by the car in a pink suit. Michaela has a knife in her hand, and the police officer just fires. At this moment, could he not just tase her, get her subdued, and then ascertain what's going on? What is the sequence of events that led up to this moment? Because that's what you need to know to really understand the situation. At this point, the cop did not understand what the situation was. He just saw a person with a knife going towards another person. It looks like she has her arm reared back to stab at the woman, and you don't know why. And in the aftermath, what you end up with is a young 16-year-old girl whose life is lost because police in America are too quick to pull out a handgun and kill somebody before they know what's going on, before they can ascertain the situation. I understand all the arguments people are going to make. They're going to make the argument that Bryant could have stopped what she was doing when the police arrived, but you don't know what was going on. You don't know if she was threatened prior to the police getting there, and when you get threatened physically, you have that adrenaline pump into your body, and you are completely jacked up physically, mentally, on adrenaline, and you may not even be aware that a cop arrived. I mean, as I said, information was coming out that possibly the first caller to 911 was Ma'Khia Bryant, the one who ended up being killed. We don't know if the two girls attacked her, attacked somebody in her family, attacked one of her friends, and that caused a sequence of events where the police arrived at the wrong time and shot the wrong person. I don't know. I don't know at this point, but I do know that you can tase somebody to subdue them without taking their life away from them. But that's where we're at with this story. Thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please hit the like button. Please subscribe, and have a good day.